Hi everyone, so let's start the next question. Exchange seats. This is of type medium. And we are given a table seat with two columns, ID and student. ID is the primary key column for this table, and each row of this table indicates the name and ID of a student. Write a solution to swap the seat ID of every two consecutive students. So we have to write a query to swap the seat ID. Okay, if the number of student is odd, the ID is the last student is not swapped. Okay, return the table ordered by ID in the ascending order. Okay, so let's see. So question here is saying that we have to write a solution to swap the seat of every two consecutive students, which means that a bot earlier it had an ID to 1, we have to return 2. For Doris, earlier the ID was 2, we have to return 1. For Emerson, ID was 3, so we have to return 4. For Green, 4, so we have to return 3. Now, if the number of student is odd, 5, then we have to return the same ID. And if suppose there would be extra student or number of student is even, then we have to swap this one, right? So now let's see how we can do this one. So the first thing is we have to find out how to find whether the ID is odd or even. So if I do ID student and then ID by 2, so this is dividing by 2 as odd slash or even from seat. Let's see. So we know that this first ID, this is odd because we are getting 1, dividing by 2. For ID 2 we are getting 0. For 3 it is 1, and the last one it is 1. So now we know that if the ID will be 1, then we want, if the this remainder will be 1, we want to get to the next ID, and if it is 0, we want to get to the previous one. Let's see how we can write this one. So if first let me write the lead function. So what lead function is going to do, it is going to give me the next ID over, this will be order by ID is next ID, and then let's see, this will be lag. So lag of ID over order by ID as previous. And also scroll here. So if we look at the result here, so Abbott, his ID is 1, but in the final one he is getting ID 2. So it means that if the remainder is 1, we want to get to the next ID, and if the remainder is 0, then we want to get to the previous ID, right? I hope the logic is clear. Now we know that what we have to do, we just have to write a query. So it will be select from seed, and then it will be case when statement. So case when this ID, if it will return 1, then we want to go to the next one. So if it will be 1, then what we have to get, we have to get the lead function, we want to go to the next ID, else we want to get to the previous ID, and end as ID comma student. So let me remove this one. Now I know that when I'm using ID mod 2 equals to 1, then I'm getting the result as this and this. For Abbott, I'll get the ID as 2. For Emerson, I'll get ID as 4. But what about James? James don't have anyone who is in the ID 6, so you will get ID as null. But in the question, we know that if the ID is odd, then the last student is not swapped. So if the total number of students are odd, so what we can do, we can first run this one, and then if we get null in the fifth one, what we can do, we can just handle the null using the last ID. So I can write, if it will be null, then just give me the ID. Let's run. Let's see. Okay, we also have to order by ID in ascending order. So it got accepted. Let's submit this one. It got accepted. Thank you.